Okay, hi everybody. My name is Claire Anderson and I'm the course leader for the BA Textile Design at Chelsea College of Arts. This image of a recent graduate really embodies the ethos of the course. We look at textiles in broader contexts around the body, spatial contexts, and we encourage our students to explore different identities and approaches to textiles, as well as technical experimentation around colours and materials. The student has not only sort of looked at traditional hand embroidery techniques, as well as much more sort of digital approaches of 3D printing and digital prints. And we really encourage this expansive approach to textile design on the course. The course is very established. When you join the course, you become part of Chelsea College of Arts and the family of graduates. Our students have opportunities to work alongside students from graphic design right through to fine art, and it feels like a real art school when you come onto the campus opposite Tate Britain. Why BA on textile design? The course really shows you how to design using colour, material and processes, all very sort of intuitive things for textile designers and people who are interested in materials. We look at technologies that are using textile, print, knit, stitch, weave, and smart textiles. And you'll develop ideas and expand your thinking through projects. You'll explore responsible and sustainable design, innovation, craft, fashion, body, interior and exterior spaces, as well as social and collaborative design. And we also are very much looking at design activism. The course asks you to consider what it means to be a designer in current and future scenarios, and our graduates work across industries from fashion to architecture to policy making. From the outset of the course, we encourage our students to really think like broadly. They'll be designing for the future, what that industry is going to look like in years to come. And we're also really conscious of the sort of social and environmental impacts of the industry. We know that we need to encourage our students to be much more responsible designers for the future. And this is a first year project where students are working with charity trade, and they actually work with repurposed garments and textile fabrics from the outset of the course. It really sort of encouraged our students to think about the end use of the material at the beginning of the design process. All our projects are rooted in good research, and we really make use of being in London and absolutely sort of celebrate all that's here and accessible to our students. And that's from museums and galleries, libraries, events and talks, and really encourage our students to understand how researching online is such an incredibly useful tool, but how to use it like properly and purposefully. Our students go on external trips as part of our research process. Some of these are very much curated and organised and led by us, such as this visit to trade, where students were actually able to go and see the sort of impact of what we were talking about in terms of garment reuse and pre and post consumer waste streams, which we know is a real sort of like growth area of industry, and consumers are more and more asking for companies to take ownership and call for transparency in this area. So allowing our students to visit and understand really sort of sets a tone around material use in the course. And we have our students then designing using these sort of different approaches from the outset, but also sort of embedded in traditional tools such as good drawing skills, storyboards that are used and have been used in the industry, and really sort of understanding context and where they want to go. So if they're particularly interested in fashion, allowing them to really develop those skill sets within project briefs. And likewise, if they're interested much more in architecture and spatial context, we can support that as well. In the second year of the course, it's very focused on professional practice and really developing your design identity further. There's a collaborative project across courses here at Chelsea, and students have the opportunity to work with product designers, interior design students, graphic designers, and they work on a set project, and then it culminates in an exhibition, so all our students are able to come together and see what one another have been working on. And it's really exciting to see the textile voice within these collaborative projects and seeing how they can not only take their sort of understanding of materials and structures, but also systems thinking and apply that to these collaborative projects. We have a number of live briefs which change every year, and this was our second years were invited to work with garden designer Lottie Delman last year for our project for Kew Gardens, and it was really looking at sort of colonial systems in terms of textiles and printing and dyeing heritage, and our students were asked to put together proposals to be part of a display that ran from September to November of this year. And our students worked on these large scale panels which were naturally dyed and hand screen printed and also embroidered on site here and then displayed as part of this Kew Gardens festival. Two students were selected to the final work, and these panels were really impactful within the garden itself. Another project brief that we had in the second year was the Threads in Mexico project, where our students were looking at an indigenous garment that we peeled from Mexico, and we partnered with a university in Mexico City, and we had a sort of online exchange of lectures and tutorials and group crits. And again, there was a final exhibition at the Mexican Embassy here in London where students were able to come over from Mexico, and we co-curated that. And then two of our students were selected to go out and spend some time in Mexico City and the surrounding region, learning different textile techniques such as backstrap weaving or indigo dyeing, and then brought what they'd learned back into the third year. So we're constantly reviewing what we're working on, who we're working with. In third year, we want our students to get out into different studios and understand what areas they might want to work, who they would like to work with, and be able to ask designers and companies questions firsthand, not only just in a project brief context, but also being able to go into the studio themselves and understand what tools they're working with, what clients are asking them to do, what physically they're creating, what programs they're working with. So we have a range of professional practice trips in third year. And we also continue to have opportunities for live briefs. So this was a project that our students worked on last year with Liberty Fabrics, as well as two partner institutions, Nottingham Trent University and Norwich University, exploring the use of AI as part of the textile design process. And this was one of our students, Georgia, who actually came first place in the project and was awarded by Liberty. And her inquiry had actually been about inspired by her mother's love of Crystal Palace and a sort of relationship between the fanaticism of football fandom as well as religion. And she created some really playful approaches to working with AI as part of her textile journey. She also had a chatbot based on Danny Dyer's character from Football Factory, and was able to sort of work with them as a critical friend through the project. So it was a really playful project that culminated in a series of football scarves inspired by the imagery that Georgia had created while working on this project and working with various AI tools. Our third years have a graduate show here at Chelsea, which is a really exciting and beautiful event where they are able to sort of come together and really show what they've been working on. So this is Gwen, whose work was very much about identity and processes and working with different textile techniques and knitwear. Ben's work was very much about connections between land and materials and textile processes, and was really sort of interested in working across different technical workshops, a real sort of polymath approach to textiles. And Luna had a much more traditional sort of pattern-based approach to textiles and applied this to a much more traditional interiors textile outcome. So in our applications, we're looking to see what you're really interested in and what you're passionate about. There's lots of information on the website, so you please have a look at this about what to put in portfolios. And just to say that We offer a number of opportunities while studying. Students can go and study on the Diploma in Professional Studies or the Creative Computing Institute, and there's also opportunities to go and study abroad in second year. Our graduates go on to a number of different areas, from fashion related careers right through to colour material finish, CMF design, as well as sustainability policy making. Next, please read the course page. All of the information is on there, and follow us on social media as well. Okay, thank you.